Grace and peace be unto you from God our Father and from our Lord Jesus Christ. I should show you what I'm looking at. I'm looking at beautiful snow. You're looking at me, not so beautiful. And it's covering everything, and it's pristine and has not been disturbed. Don't you wish that were true? Don't you wish that were true? Liberty and law. Well, it's not. And that's what the videotaping today is going to be about. You newspapers, you TV shows, get onto it. Go to the geriatric centers, go to the courts, and see how old people are being ripped off. Folks, if you don't have any money, they don't bother with you. But if you've got money, boy, do they go after you. The judge, the geriatric center, and then they hire guardians, and then they hire caretakers, and they want $1,500 a week for that, and you got to go through their agency. It is an out-and-out RICO, a racketeer influence crime organization. So you newspapers and you TV shows, you do your job. You get out there and you expose this and you stop it. Do what Harold Rivera, or what's his name, Ronaldo or whatever, did for the Staten Island people who were so abused. Don't you wish all that were true? It isn't. It's scum. It's dirt. It's ugly. We wish to have you know a thank you from Pause for Love, which has rescued thousands and thousands of cats. And we wish to encourage you to continue to help these feral cats. They get these cats who don't know people's love, and they take them to the vet and get them spayed or neutered, and all the other medical things taken care of, and then they take the kitty cat back to where it was, and usually there's a person there who feeds those outdoor cats. And that's where you two would have been. These two had their catnip yesterday. I showed you that on videotape. Wasn't it a riot? DCTV, public access in the District of Columbia. And Karen Beasley. And the gentleman who wrote this letter. And he says, I wish to thank you for your generous donation of $10. I don't think that's so generous. I'd like to have it be a little more generous. And we are a not-for-profit organization, 501c3. And once again, thank you for your generous donation. And I thank you, DCTV, for cablecasting a chat with Glendora in the nation's capital. We have quite a few fans down there. Phyllis Schlafly is onto it. She knows. She's informed. And three of our worst enemies are the media. They don't tell you what's going on because they don't want you to know what's going on. What they tell you is not the truth. and what they tell you, and there are things happening that they don't tell you. So that's one enemy, is the media. But this doesn't speak for public access. On public access, you get the truth. The next arm, our enemies, are the public schools. The public schools are teaching the kids the wrong things. They're covering up the evil. They're covering up the damage. They're covering up the atrocities that go on in the courts today. My report to you today is probably going to be all day, is how bad the courts are. I have in particular in mind one Kenneth W. Rudolph, Angelillo, Jonathan Lippman, Tannenbaum, McCabe, Edward McCabe. These dissolutes are on the appellate term, Supreme Court, State of the New York, 9th and 10th Judicial Districts. And there's lots to report about them. Now the third evil that Phyllis Schlafly goes after is the judges. So she's on the mark. The media, the public schools, and the judges. Kelly Burness, a great hero, a brave soldier. She is a veteran, and she is a soldier, and she stood up to dishonest Cablevision, and to dishonest Rifkin Radler, and to dishonest Savarino. And she stood up for public access, and she stood up for the fact that Cablevision is operating a lottery, and that's against the law in the state of New York. Right in broad daylight, every day, Cablevision is operating a lottery. She ran into dishonorable Arthur Spat, a federal judge in the Eastern District of New York, stationed in Long Island, and his dishonest law clerk, Jeffrey Amato. They did exactly what the establishment told them to do. Dismiss Kelly's Burness claim, and she never got justice. Kelly, being the brave soldier that she is, went to the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit in Manhattan. Who was there? Calabresi. We know Calabresi to be no good. We have hours of reports on the dishonesty of Calabresi and the selling of his soul. Then Dennis Jacobs was the presiding justice. And then there was a fellow from the Eastern District of New York, Bianca. She stood and argued her heart out. And all they gave her was 5 minutes, because she wasn't a lawyer. She stood and argued her heart out. And they looked her in the eye. And they were amiable, and all the time they knew they were going to double-cross her. Well, she'd been double-crossed. And so now she's going to make an argument en banc. You know what that means? Instead of going back to the 3 judges who double-crossed her, she's going to go through the whole Second Circuit. It's 25 people. Maybe it's 30 people. And she's going to tell them how wrong the 3 judges were. They didn't let her finish her oral argument. They didn't let her finish it. She feels that's why she lost. I know that she lost because they're crooked, because they're dis-American. We got a kitty cat here who's still sniffing her catnip from yesterday and pushing the camera. Let's not do that, .com. She doesn't care. She's enthralled with her catnip. Anyway, here is her oral argument. All these people who died in vain. All this talk and all this rhetoric about freedom and liberty. It's nothing but propaganda. what's behind it all. Dirty courts. And how can you have a country? How can you have a nation when it doesn't have any courts? When the nation doesn't do what is right? When the nation, when the courts don't do what is right, the courts do always what is wrong. So Rudolph Tannenbaum and McCabe and Angelillo and Lippmann, they had bad parents. The parents never taught them right from wrong. To this day, they don't know right from wrong. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to A Chat with Glendora. And I don't know what number program this is, but it's 4,500 and must be 60 or 70. These are the vegetarian meat analogs that you can buy. You can get them at a health food store, but they're really more than you have to pay. Big Frank's chili, these are all chocolates. These are all meat analogs. Fried chick, dinner cuts, linkettes, prime steaks, saucettes, savory dinner. I get them from the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Every Seventh-day Adventist church has a store in the back where they sell health products. These are made by Worthington Foods, Loma Linda. It's all sort of a monopoly, and it's all been bought by Kellogg. Kellogg has spoiled the texture and the taste of many of these products, but it's about all you have right now. What else? The scallops, Swiss steaks. As I say, these are all made from textured vegetable soy protein. They taste just like meat. Tender rounds. Tuna I would not get. Tuna is not good. Vegelinks is a good hot dog. Vegeburger. Okay, that's all right if you're making a casserole. I make a casserole of Vegeburger. Comes in a can, or it's frozen. And I put in 2 cans of tomato soup, and then I put in 2 cans of string beans, drained, and a teaspoon of clove. Makes a magnificent casserole, and then you top it with mashed potatoes. That's what I use Vegeburger for. Vegetarian burger, vegetable steaks, bologna, chick nuggets. Those are like those McDonald's things. Golden croquettes, those are very good. Dinner roast. Leanies is the best of the vegetarian hot dogs, no question about it. Fry Patch is the best of the vegetarian hamburgers, which there are many. Salami, sliced chicken, smoked turkey, and Wham. Wham used to be delicious, but Kellogg has almost totally ruined it. And you, Cablevision, when are you going to learn as a cable TV operator to have system-wide public access in southern Westchester? We used to have 21 towns who could see A Chat with Glendora in Westchester. That is no more, because you don't know how to do system-wide public access. Is that so difficult? You can't do it, can you? We have Greenberg now because they do their own public access. We have Rye who does their own public access. Larchmont and Mamaroneck who does theirs. I think that's it. Where's the 21 towns? That's about 7 out of 21. So you're going at 1/3 of your potential and 1/3 of your duty to Americans for public access television, and you're doing about 1/3 of your intelligence. Supreme Court, State of New York, appellate term, 9th and 10th Judicial District. You are a total failure. Yes, it was made for you and me, this land. It was not made for these gangsters in the courts. I'm talking about lawyers and clerks and judges. The land was made for you and me, and they have stolen it from you and me. Well, what will we do now? Such a long legal paper to report to you. I'm going to take a break because I see a lot of birds. And they've eaten up the food that I've given them. So I have to give them more. This is the courts. Well, you can't take care of cats, feed the birds, videotape. Well, how long did this take, folks? Well, how long did this take, folks? Well, it took 8 days. Or is it 7? Yeah, 7 days. It added up to 51 hours. Write it. Print it. 5 sets. And collate it, staple it, label it, and serve it. That's 51 hours, and it costs $70 $9.19 to print it on my little copy machine and to post it. So, as the caption says, Satterlee was in default because he didn't show up at the hearing, the first court appearance. And if you don't show up in small claims, it's dismissed. The case is, the plaintiff wins. The defendant loses by default. So number one, Satterlee's in default. All through the rest of the action that night, I should have been granted default judgment. A defendant cannot defend a co-defendant. Now, only one defendant showed that night. Well, two. Sarok came with Cecilia. But Cecilia didn't say anything. She didn't defend. And then at all the motion practice, Cecilia didn't answer. So that's two down, isn't it? Cecilia's in default and Satterlee's in default. Now we got one left. That's Sarok. Guess what? Sarok did not show at the trial. So, strike three. Three of them. They're out. And that's what I'm telling Brian Hansbury in the White Plains City Court, that Glendora has won this case by default. Sarok did not show January 24th, the day of the trial. Cecilia did not answer the papers and did not defend. And Satterlee never showed at all. Until the trial, Satterlee did show, but it's too late. And they sent a woman named Zoe Jasper. The trial started at 5:15 in the afternoon and went until 6:50, and that would be what? An hour and a half about, right? Yeah, about an hour and 40 minutes. So this is what I'm telling Hansbury, a judge, part-time judge, in the city court of the city of White Plains, Westchester County, state of New York. And then I go forward and say, Glendora also includes, on the meritorious side, 96 counts of ignorant lawyering and shoddy workmanship by Satterlee, Stevens, Birkenberg, Sarok, and Cecilia Massarilli. And that's what these 300 pages were. Along with all the logs that showed all the hours and all the dollars that these defendants have cost me. And it comes out to something like that would be in the docket on the last page. These get unmanageable. And they cover such a long period of time that the whole chronology gets out of sight. Here's Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4 should tell you what the total is. Here's what they have caused me, folks. 195 and a half hours. The litigation on the Glendora versus Satterlee. Plus the ad damnum on the Glendora versus Cecilia, the first action. And I charge $300 an hour. The lawyer can charge anything he wants for an hour. Isn't it terrible, folks? In Manhattan, they charge $800 an hour. In Westchester, they charge $400 an hour. Up here, maybe they charge $150 an hour. And so, on the basis of my 54 years in broadcast television and my 37 years in cable television and my 18 years in the courts fighting these battles against crooked lawyers and crooked judges, and against the expertise of doing a public access show and doing 4,560 of them, and on the basis of having 53 television stations where the shows are on, the videotaping, the writing, the content, the editing, the titles going on the screen, wrapping them all, 53 of them, getting them to the TV stations and making sure that they are cablecast. On that expertise and a whole lot more, I charge $300 an hour. And so 195 and a half hours is $58,650 that they owe me. Only $5,000 of which is reclaimable in a small claims court in a city in the state of New York. Only $5,000. And then in fees and travel and postage and printing, the dollar amount is $746.68. $747. And that's just in Glendora versus Satterlee, Stevens, Burke and Burke, Walter A. Sawrock, and Cecilia Mastarulli. And this is the a fortiori. As a matter of fact and as a matter of law, it is all the more, and with all the force, more certain and necessary that Glendora be granted $5,000 damages and $20 cost, plus any further relief just and proper. This says that it's opus 1,460. That means I've written 1,460 legal papers. $51 and $79. I want to say that we all had a very good time on January the 24th when we went to trial. I spent all day on it. We left here at 8 o'clock. This is Glendora's ad damnum, which lists all of the hours in dollars. Well, how much more should I tell you? And all these songs that we're hearing, America the Beautiful, Battle Hymn of the Republic, it's all propaganda. It's not that way at all. Our freedom and our liberty are not injustice. It's a big lie. Our freedom, our liberty are not in jeopardy. It's a big lie. Justice is beyond jeopardy. Justice is gone. And this is not the way it's like at all. The courts are totally depraved. They're in an establishment of self-interest and self-gain. And even if there was somebody good in the courts, and there is not, and I'm talking about every lawyer, every clerk, and every judge. You know, I've gone through thousands of them since 1983. That's wrong. 1997. No, that's wrong. Since 1993. No, that's wrong. It did start in 87. 20 years. Hundreds of lawyers, hundreds of judges, hundreds of clerks. Every one of them is a soul. S-O-L-D, S-O-U-L. Total depravity, total corruption in the courts. And as I started to say, if you ever did find a good one, and you will not, they all have to do what is crooked to keep the establishment going and keep from being booed out of the establishment. These crooked clerks in the Supreme Court of the state of New York make about $70,000 a year, your tax money. The judges make about $130,000 a year, your tax money. And I can show you from my finance book here how many taxes, how much I pay in taxes to New York State, just in sales taxes. Then you have all of the vehicle and traffic recall, all the things you don't need, aren't necessary, but are excuses for the state of New York to bring money out of you.